How are you?
Hi, I'm fine, and you?
Doing good. Good to see you.
Nice to see you too. So you
I've
are in you are in San Francisco at the
been
moment.
for like 46 years. So yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I heard, I read that you were a dancer also there at the San
Yeah,
Francisco Ballet.
yeah, still. Yeah, just signed my 46th contract.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
isn't that
So
wonderful?
or in that time period. I think I've lost track, but it's in the 40s, mid
Okay.
40s. But yeah. But yeah. Yeah.
Amazing. So, and when did you start dancing?
I was a late starter. I didn't start till I was like 19, almost 20, but I lied when I went to audition for the school here, San Francisco
Yeah.
Ballet School, and said I was 16, and they believed me. So,
Yeah.
but I was in the
Oh,
company within a year and a half. I mean, I'd not done ballet before, so it's really a strange career.
yeah, but yeah, because at that age, it's difficult to get into a school now or to get into a
Yeah,
company
yeah,
now. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, absolutely. It was a little different back then for men, but I don't know. I think it's can still be done now, but
Mm,
it takes a lot more. There's just so many good dancers, and the technical, it's just so much higher right now. What's required of
mm,
me, it's brutal.
yeah. Um, but so now during lockdown, how are things with the company and with you? Are you full time at the company?
Yeah, I'm still there, and I've not had any responsibilities there. They have been, so if you don't, it's better that you don't go in because the company's testing the dancers constantly. So a lot of the projects are streamed, or the new works are being filmed. So they're in their pods, and it's they're being really good about it. They've been very successful. So I haven't been in since a
Mm,
year and a half in the building. I mean, we correspond and stuff, of course, but it's just different now, as you know.
mm, yeah.
So my most of my work has been outside as a choreographer, either zooming or like in Finland. I actually went there.
Oh,
So
okay. Yeah.
because I opened ballet Jekyll and Hyde full length that was in planning for 3 years, and Finland was not under lockdown, and you still couldn't travel there, but for some reason that government, which lesson for every government is, in their mind, arts are essential. And so it was getting the government approval that if I didn't go and my team didn't go, the dancer the project would have stopped and people had been out of work. And so it was a whole
Yeah.
different thing. Even traveling, even from here to there, the ticket agency, just almost a lot of me and my team, different places, would say, no, this isn't real. The arts aren't essential. This isn't real. The government can't be doing this. It's only for this, and this, and this. And it was hard to convince, in
Mm.
many cases, it was very difficult. But
Was
yeah,
this now was this now in 2020 in the
this
in this
is 20. It opened in November. I went there earlier than it was not easy getting the flights and getting there, but it opened. It was one of the few major, huge things that opened. It
yeah.
lasted 10 performances. They had to cancel the last two. They haven't performed since, but I was in that bubble. But I still had to. We zoomed a lot because everything got postponed. So we did
Mm.
an awful lot of zooming before I even got there. And even going there, I had to, with my assistant, it had been locked down, had to be
Yeah.
quarantined. I think
Quarantined.
it was
Yeah.
for 2 weeks. So we still did Zoom rehearsals
Mm.
in our apartments in Helsinki. And then it was
Wow.
fine going in. I
Yeah.
mean, with precautions and stuff. It was just different. It was different.
Yeah. So how did you find these Zoom meetings with choreography?
Oh, well, it's something, everyone says the way of the future. I hope it's not. It's just, to me,
Yeah.
it's too difficult. But you do have to do, and you see I'm in this office. Sometimes I could put the camera somewhere else, but it's like you start moving and hitting things and stuff like that. But to me, it worked in many ways. With the Finnish National Ballet, with the Jekyll and Hyde project, because I had done workshops prior to this, prior to pandemic, I got funding with Kansas City Ballet here in the United States. So Devin Carney, you know, prolonged the season for 2 weeks that I was able to workshop the ballet. So a lot was on film. So the germ of it was there. A lot of things that were worked out was on film. So that was easier when I Zoomed the new work because I had something to base it on. I can't imagine, because it's a huge ballet. It's very interesting stuff. And we had the makings of it, and it was easier, like how we're doing it, because they had a film of it. Let's try that. No, try it a different way. So I had that. And I don't know if I would have been able to accomplish it if I hadn't had that. It's almost like I in my mind, I went, we better do, because I'm not sure if we'll have enough time in Helsinki that was given to me, or, you know, maybe I can get some funding and work with another company here in the United States and get some ideas and thoughts and work out some kinks in certain sections. And I must have been clairvoyant or something. I must have had some sort of sixth sense that something's about up. I better have this under my belt. So that made the Zooming easier, much easier. Timings were terrible there because I had to wake up at 3 a.m. to do this, because my assistant is on the East Coast. So we both have different timings, and that was brutal. Because you have to do the rest of your day. You can't just sleep the rest of the day. I've got other projects and stuff. So timing was an issue. So there was a lot involved, and it was different to say the least. But it opened. It was one of the few major productions that opened in the world of that magnitude.
I'm amazed that it was even possible. Did you have to change many things so that there's not a lot of contact, or were they relaxed about that?
No, as we went along, a lot of things had to be changed because of the nature of everything being postponed. The timing that I was given had to be shared with other things because it's postponed. They had to do a Bayadere and a ballet by, another program, another full length, a contemporary. Prior to mine, it was never there before. So I had to do in spurts, a little, leftovers, and when it was supposed to be my time. So it really altered it. I can't say as it altered it in a bad way. It just made me think differently. So while I was there, I had to, I had in competition with studio and dancers with 2 other major full-length ballets at the same time. And that's a brand new work. That can be brutal. But the fact that I was so prepared, our team, the design, we've been working on this with the Finnish National Ballet for 2 or 3 years prior. So we were really prepared. It was not like a cookie cutter theme. It's a ballet. It's not Cinderella. You're reorganizing that, or a new Swan Lake, or to do a different way. This was totally new, different concept. So it made it difficult, but it really made me hunker down and work even harder. It was not easy because at some point there were times when we all had to wear masks, and then maybe we had to wear masks. It was not business as usual. It was business better than the rest of the world, but it still wasn't easy. Things with the music. Music had to be altered, partially recorded because they couldn't put so many musicians in the pit. So it's partially live, partially. So there's like so many other elements, that had to be dealt with during the pandemic. We just all made it work, and I was like shocked it worked so well.
But so did they have also previously a lockdown? So or did they have, like in March and those periods?
I don't think they had a total lockdown. I think it just wasn't hitting there, and it was like I think they were being very good. I don't know. It was just different. I mean, they tested a lot. It's like New Zealand. They figured it out. I think with New Zealand and Finland were the only, one of the only 2 countries that was stayed open. They had restrictions, but it was just different. There's an article in the New York Times about it if you want to take a look. It's done about the process, and it really says what went on with the whole situation. And it kind of changed after the opening and the 10 performances. They had to cancel only 2. The audiences weren't full. They had to do, the audiences had to wear masks. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
they could only do 700 per performance or something, but it was socially distanced. I mean, it was really done well. So they were ahead of the times. So it wasn't business as usual, but they opened a major ballet with precautions.
Amazing.
It
Yeah.
just made it more difficult with the costuming. They had to partition, you know, it's
Oh,
like
yes, I can imagine.
everything
Yeah.
and every aspect of the ballet had to be dealt with. And at times they thought we'll never be able to open this. And then the production said, no, we have to, you know, it's, you know, they had the cheerleaders within, it's a huge organization. So, but yeah, if you take a look at that New York Times article, Carrie Perloff, it's pretty says it all. It was
I
her,
love
she was
it.
the dramaturge for it.
Mm.
And she's was an artistic director of American Conservatory Theater in San Francisco. So I use her as the dramaturge. And she documented her travels and her feelings as she was navigating this, because she wasn't used to the
Wonderful.
ballet world, she was with the theater world. So that and the pandemic and
Mm.
traveling, but you really get a good sense of what it was like.
Because it's amazing. Also, I see when you hear of a theater putting up a production or something now in this time, which now doesn't happen, but you know, over the summer, or there was a window where theaters did do things, but they go to these extraordinary lengths to make it safe for the artist, for the public. They just think of everything, and I think that has to be taken into consideration, and you know, that the theaters can stay open because they do care a lot and they do take these precautions.
Right. It's hard though in this country because a lot of us, we can't even go to those precautions because each state is different. The government, there's not one blanket. Some theaters have not been able to open in certain states. California indoor, it's like not happening. I mean, it's especially with audiences coming in. They've been streaming, they've been filming, yes, and doing precautions within their organization, within their pods, not the entire company, 666, or, you know, depending on the project. But it's even outdoors, you know, getting audience, it's just been difficult. I hear it's more difficult with theatrical companies. Ballet, we at least we have our pod, we have our dancers, 80 dancers,
Yeah.
60, 40. We don't do per show and audition per, you know, it's an organization. So I think it, you know, I could be wrong, but it's been a little bit better with ballet companies having to adapt. I mean, I've been, especially with Richmond Ballet in Richmond, Virginia, they've been performing live for a while. But the Virginia allowed this, and because they had someone there monitoring and testing the dancers, but they performed in masks, they performed in pods, first and cast, second cast. they did versions. They called me because I'm associated with them very much so over the decades, that I was able to adapt my ballets and change them because it was out of necessity. If I didn't change them, I didn't cooperate, you know, we're not going anywhere. So I took out some dancers so we can socially distance. Only those that were partners or roommates or married, they can do the duets. But sometimes there's two duets at once. Okay, take out that duet, just do the one. But adapting existing ballets, I think I did 3 of them where it worked. And it was called version 2 or something. And the audiences were only 20% or 30%. They wore the masks, the dancers were masks. So that, I mean, it just took being smart by specific artistic directors. How are we going to do this? Calling it quits. I admire it. I never want to be an artistic director. It's too much work. But
Really?
just on top of that,
yeah.
it's crazy that they've been figuring out Ballet West with Adam Skloot. They finally did some a gala where they didn't have to wear masks, and only 20% audiences, sold out right away. They're still performing now. I worked with them via Zoom on 2 works they haven't done before, a couple solos, but it was a gala. They still figured out how to put on Paquita and other things. And it was just a revelation. They're almost like crying on stage. We don't have to wear masks. They rehearsed in masks. They did, you know, but once they're on the stage, it's the freedom. Stagehands wore masks. It's like, so
Yeah.
precautions are being made.
Mm.
But it is easier on me working through this. I mean, I'm not the artistic director, I have it organizing, and I just get the calls, can you do this? And I always say yes.
Yeah.
So working through Zoom on existing works that I know and figuring out what to do with it and figuring out together with the dancers, with the organization. But doing a brand new work, I don't know how choreographers do it.
Mm.
To me, that's got to be way more difficult via Zoom.
But Val, what I think a lot about also are the dancers, because it's an art form where you really are very close to each other in dance, and of course the part of telling the story is being together, like you say now, for a pas de deux, for example, or even full casts, where you have to do something. And as a choreographer, of course, understand that it's, you have to think, how can I change this? But do you think that loses something about the real story or the real effect of the ballet when you start taking the things out, or
Well, in an existing work, it didn't. On my end, we figured it out. The audiences were local, they've seen the works before, and they get it. It'll be put back together, when they do these ballets again. So the audiences were very forgiving and just so happy they were there. And so it was, the reactions to these dancers still horribly dancing in mass, even if they're dancing close up. It's just, and I would remind them, we had talks afterwards about how amazing this is, how superhuman these dancers are, and to thank them that they're there. So I think in those regards, it adds to the drama, it adds to what's going on in a different way. In regards to doing a new work, when you have that in mind, you use that as the inspiration however you want to. I would think that if we're told they have to be social distances, you only use 5 dancers in this ballet, they can't touch each other or this or that. I mean, I saw some works that have been amazing and like very, so that works out, in many ways. But I really, and I've said this a lot, I get angry because I'm a sports fan. I'm a sports fanatic, and I'm watching like right now the NBA and stuff like that indoors. They are allowed the same thing. They're together. They're on top. They've got the ball. They're licking their hands. They're like breathing on each other, hugging each other, the team, and then they're sitting on the sides wearing their mask past their nose. They are supposed to be these machos, these superhuman men and women, and they are, but they're not required like we are to be wearing masks indoors while we're working together. And I go, there's this weird double standard. I don't get it. So I get angry about that, very angry, because they are allowed this, they're allowed the broadcasting, they're allowed specific audiences depending on what state. I saw Texas where it was full. So I get angry that the arts aren't allowed and they're not giving this, the funding or whatever to help, because it's crazy. It's a double standard with sports and dance. Sports, they're on top of each other just as much as we are. They're not wearing masks. They're not required to. And it's just like, this is bizarre to me. So I don't know.
But this is what I want to ask you. Do you think that art is valued there? Because I hear different stories from America, but overall, I know ballet companies and orchestras, they are not state funded; they are privately funded.
Right.
Do you think Americans value art, or is it different where you are in the state that you are?
I think it's different per state, per city. Like San Francisco is hotel tax, they fund. I mean, it's there. And I keep saying there is a double standard. Yes, I think they don't in this country value the arts as much as they should, and really look at the economy that it enhances. look at the statistics, the arts are thriving, the surrounding areas are thriving, tourism thrives, the restaurants do, the stores around it. It's like, it's huge. When you look at the statistics, it's huge. It's just ignored because it's, there's, maybe it's not as commercial. It's not, Broadway, of course. I mean, that's a little more commercial, or film and stuff like that. But the live arts, it's just, it's strange. It's not the Valley as much. Hence, going back to the dismay at the airports that a government would let in a team and dub them as essential to the government, and being questioned at the United States border, not anywhere else, the stopover. It just was not in there. This can't be. This is not on the list. You are not essential. This is not a real document. And it's in the mindset in this country, I think, that it's not essential. That, yeah, well, fund it yourself. It's like, government, we can't be wasting our time with this. Not thinking that it's part of the economy. It thrives, the arts. Other things, but anyway, that was a lecture, sorry. But it's like,
no, but
it's different. It really, because it's not been government supported here. It's supported by some great organizations, great people. They're always an uphill battle. Everyone's trying to get the same funding, and trying, everyone's, the arts organization fighting, I want, the piece of that pie, piece of that arts organization is giving up money, or the city tax, or this or that. Everyone's competing for the same funding, and it's not tons. So it is difficult, and the pandemic has just really, that's made it worse. But also, getting back to the dancers, as opposed to actors or opera singers or whatever, it's a short career. We're losing 2 years of a very short career. We're losing a generation. There's many dancers that were going to retire there in these 2 years, and they couldn't do it properly, and it's sad, or retiring early because they just can't deal with it. So I don't know what, after this is all over, hopefully soon, that it'll be interesting to see what happens, how it's going to look.
Well, I specifically talk a lot to ballet dancers in this project as well, because I feel almost as if people don't realize the impact that this pandemic, well, on the arts it has, and on musicians, of course, and orchestras and so on. But I feel for the dancers, because of course their bodies are their instrument. Right. And if they don't use it the way they used to use it every single day, then of course the muscles
exactly
are not used, and it's not it's not a separate instrument that you can retune quickly and take on. It's the body. And of course they have many there are many things that we have to think about, and that is the fact that they are always doing this together. They are in this open space in the studio. And what have your dancers, or the dancers there, what have they been doing in the time? Could they go into the studio certain hours, or were they confined to their homes that they had to do some training there?
Right. Well, it's different per government, for in this country, per state, per city, it's really different on what is allowed, what isn't allowed. Be in the studio, not in the studio. Zoom classes, that's been very popular, but it's hard to do, setting up that you don't have the space. If you do, fine. But some companies, like I know Finland has been allowing slowly them coming back, but very few per, there's been rules and laws. It's just like you said, it shakes up the the routine that we're all used to. It just, everyone has to think differently, and it's still not good enough. But I admire the dancers right now that are staying in shape and trying as much as they can. I'm like, I don't know if I could have done that at that age. Could I? Probably, because I'm driven, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's it all
Is that-
depends on
Mm,
the environment where you live, actually, you know, what's allowed, what isn't allowed.
mm.
Um,
Yeah, and yeah, it seems as in America also, like you say, different states, different rules, different, you know, it's you cannot, like in Europe, we have sort of a standard, you know, what's where what the rules are concerned. But I'm talking a lot about this, the fact that art is, you know, the value of art, or the support that now the arts are receiving or not receiving. And I'm thinking that what could be the reason why the art is not valued? Why is it seen always as just a form of entertainment? And also, why do people not, because I don't know how it is there, but for example, I think here people's perception of what ballet is, specifically I'm talking about ballet now, there's so many misconceptions of ballet because of movies that's been made, and people don't really know, you know, I know of dancers telling me that here in Europe, for example, if you say you're a ballet dancer, they ask you, yes, but what is your real job?
right,
And
right.
and I don't know what it is like there. How is ballet seen in America, or there in San Francisco, for example?
Well, San Francisco, it's different. It's just a different, you know, it depends like where you live, you know,
Mm,
traveling to Winnipeg in Canada, rural Winnipeg Ballet, the community knows these dancers. They're like rock stars all out. They walk in the street, I'm going, oh wow, they recognize them. They don't, they really, there's something about that environment, but it's not all in Canada like that.
mm,
San Francisco, pretty much the same. They're really valued. I still don't think everyone understands exactly what it is to get there, you
mm,
know, what it means. But yeah, it's the same everywhere. And like you said, the movies don't help. Some
mm.
of the recent movies, but
Yeah.
and perception of it and stuff. I don't know what the answer is, but it's just not known. I don't know why. I think education is key. I mean, the more outreach companies do, the more they reach out to the communities, all communities, the better, to give, you know, even younger people an idea what it is. I think Ballet West now is doing an open house in Salt Lake City of inviting the community and students and such to show, you know, be part. You can take class with us. You can do this. It's, I think education is key. It's not the end all be all, but it's, I think most companies in the United States do outreach and educational, you know, they have departments. So I think that's the key. I don't know what else we can do. You know, the perception in films and TV could be much better. Sometimes it hits its mark, but 9 times out of 10 it doesn't. It just
Mm.
fantasizes weirdness.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I don't know what the answer is, but I think it's that like that most places in the world, not everywhere, but
And how is it for boys doing ballet in the States?
well, that's improved slightly. It's still, there's a perception of what it is and what it isn't. There's a lot of trying to break the stereotypes, but include trans, including all types of, you know, the what a male dancer is and isn't and can be and should be, and you know, it's
Yeah.
the rules are being changed. There's still a lot of fight back on that. But again, I don't know. I think again, exposure is education. That'll help.
Education, yeah.
But there's been
Because
a lot about that recently, documentaries about boys in ballet, and there's been a lot of great, you know, articles and great, you know, with
mm,
social media, some male dancers have been doing quite often. So
well, I've been also thinking that if we could change the education system and make art a you know, a very important subject in education, not just on the side, not just outreach programs, not just, you know, once a week a little bit of choir singing or something like that, but that art is taught in schools the same as maths and science, and that you know, that in that way, when children have to learn it, I mean, we all had to learn maths, and that wasn't
Exactly.
necessarily my strongest field. But I'm not harmed by it. But if we can start thinking of because I've also spoken to a professor who has done you know, studies on dancing and the brain and development and so on. And if you understand what it does for the body and for the mind and for your overall health to move, that is such an important aspect. And now also with music, and if we see that music is used as therapy, that dancing is used as therapy, then of course it's, you know, the importance of it should be understood and should maybe make place for in the curriculum for art to be studied.
Right. Well, it's in this country, the educational, I mean, there's been so many cutbacks and teachers and pay, and the arts are the first to go. And I don't understand that. When I was in school, from junior high, grade school, junior high through high school, music was taught. We all had bands. That's how I learned music. I was a music major because of school. Played instrument. That's what I was going to be. And in each school, there was theater departments, big. We could put on big productions. Theater's part. Dance, in an odd sort of way. There's more of the physical education department, but they taught different types of movement, but it was mostly sports, of course. Even that was cut back to be physical and stuff. It's like, I don't get it. But the arts were the first to be cut. And there's been programs trying to fight that and bring it back. Because as you said, it is essential. It is crucial for your brain and development. But it's gone. I mean, it's not offered. It's like, it's nowhere to be found. And there's been organizations that's trying to fix that, you know, beyond. It's an uphill battle, but that's where I learned the arts, in school. That's why I'm where I am in many ways. And, you know, it wasn't supposed to be dance. It ended that way, but it was progression. It's where it took me, but I was exposed to it, you know. I was given a choice, not just sports afterwards or, you know, other things. It was, arts was something I could choose from. Then we're not getting that right now. That's again why arts organizations now going into schools is so important, bringing those students to the studios. And it's very crucial because it's kind of putting it, you know, something where that void is. But it just, you know, that takes time and money, and, you know, it's, you know, that's funded. Education in that way with the arts is funding. There's a wing of that. You can get that because it enhances the community. But to try to get a ballet or try to get funding for a specific ballet or to pay the dancers or pay, you know, it's different. But I don't know. But yeah, I think in schools, outreach, educational arts organizations to go in.
But you know, the problem with the focus on subjects like maths and science, for example, now you have children who want to go to a specific school or a better school, and then the requirement is that they have good marks in maths and science. So the society puts then this value of a person on how good they are, or the children, how good they are in maths and science for them to enter a school. And this is for me where I think the problem lies, and this is why society sees art as just a form of entertainment, or maybe the art is not valued in the sense that, I mean, if you take the years of training that you did and dancing and the years of choreography, and if you look at musicians, how they train and how they work and how they practice for years and years and years. So there has to be some sort of respect for that. And I think the respect we sort of teach children that it's not important, because it's important I agree with you to have these outreach programs, but I almost think it should go further than that. That we say it is so important that you spend as much time as you spend on maths and science on some form of art, or on different art forms. And I think that will then create a society where children understand the value of it, because they know about it, and they had to work, to achieve something in it.
Right. No, I totally agree, but it won't happen if the programs are cut. It's not going to be stressed because there's no one to stress it. There's no instructor that's going to do until the mindset changes in that category. What only thing we have are these outreach programs, and that's what's got to change. I totally agree, but there's no one there to do that because they're not hired. They're fired. They're cut. There's no program. Until those things change, I don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, that's why losing all the organizations that we're losing that as well, because most these companies had these programs, or that I know of. So yeah, until we change that attitude, it's going to be an uphill battle. The pandemic has not helped, as we know.
But I find it. I mean, I know I'm blonde. I don't know much about how the funding works in America, but I really find it very tragic that there is no funding from the state for any. Well, I haven't spoken to any conductor or musician or even ballet dancer where I hear there is state funding. And I cannot imagine that a country like America cannot sponsor their artists or sponsor the arts in any way.
It's just the way it's been. We have the National Endowment for the Arts and Humanities and such departments, and there's a certain aspect of our government, conservatives, that don't think it's necessary, and they've been doing everything they can, depending on its power, to eliminate those programs. And thankfully, there's enough conservatives that do think the arts are alive, and they will refuse to cut those programs. But every single time we go through the budget, the arts are always targeted, and then we have our unions and all of us, we have to rally and do our write-ins, and it's just the way it is here. It's been like that forever. The first thing they go for are those organizations, and you go, ugh, it's frustrating. So I mean, there is funding, but it's very little. It's just minute compared to other categories of government spending, and they go right after that. The minimal amount they do, they want to cut it even further or eliminate, and it happens every fiscal year. And sure enough, people save it. There's enough people in the government, conservative or otherwise. It's just there's enough that support in their communities. They're on boards of ballet companies. They're on board. It doesn't mean Republican or Democrat or whatever you are. They're on boards that they know it's important, so they don't. They help to save it, but it's been like that forever in the United States. I don't know a time where it wasn't.
Really?
It's just ingrained, and like I said, it's going to be harder here. I don't know the rest of the world as far as the government support, because I hear that's diminishing in many ways, and that a lot of the organizations that they're trying to figure out ways of how we do it, going to corporations and stuff. So it's sort of doing this circle now of how do we raise money for projects, because we've never been government supported. We've never been, and so it's always been relied on donations and government support in private, not funding by the government, but other people. So it's donations and stuff. But yeah, I think it's shrinking in many countries as well, the government support. It's, so I don't know.
So the dancers are there. Are they supported by the by some organizations or by sponsors? And now during lockdown, or how is the situation for them?
No, they're not supported individually by, I mean, I can't talk for everybody, but there's nothing official. It is you're maybe on unemployment or, other things now that they're trying to give, but it's not government companies budget. They budget how many dancers, and that's where the funding goes. They may go after, can you sponsor one of our dancers so that you can have your advertising over that dancer, but it has nothing to do if they're not employed, once you only use a certain amount of weeks. And so then the dancers are on their own doing guestings or get unemployment or what they want to do or teach, and then they go back. But there's no official, unless the dancer does that on their own. Most of that money goes to the budget of that year that company will, and they go after different ways. Well, can you sponsor that dancer? And they'll give that dancer's fee for the year or the amount that they were told. But that's just for their, it just helps the budget. So if it's a $40 million budget, a certain amount is ticket sales they get, but the rest of it is donations, corporate, and grants and stuff. And that's, in advertising, you get your name in the program, you get splashed on the screen, or or announced, and it's part of the or hotel rooms. Hotels will give, for advertising the program, they will give certain amount of rooms for the visiting choreographer, that visiting dancer, the visiting designer. It's all very, but aside from not working, it's not there. It's, it's unfortunately that I know of.
But Val, what for you now as a choreographer, was there something about this time that you think will now change how you do your choreography? Was there something about this time that made you think differently?
Not necessarily. Because I've always been organized, and just maybe give me more time to be organized, but also to budget and stuff. I mean, I lost a lot of work that's been postponed. Now it's picking up. I'm starting to reschedule all those. Nothing was killed. There's a couple ballets that were completed, ready to perform, and it's waiting for the right time. I mean, it's. I just realized that's something that I knew already. I can work through anything. Give me a problem. You want this type of work? Okay, but I can't do that. Okay, I'll figure it out. I always liked a challenge, and this is just. I mean, it just assured me that I can adapt. But it wasn't a surprise to me. I mean, it was a surprise to me that I was able to keep getting the phone calls. Can you redo that ballet for us on Zoom? Ballet West only 2 months ago. Can we do these 2 ballets? We just added this program. And I did not know that a lot of this would be still here because I have no control over that. And just talking and scheduling, I don't know. Maybe we'll talk when things are better. Maybe I'll go, oh my God, this did change the way I'm working. Right now, I don't see it because I've not been practicing. So, I mean, you know what I mean? My mindset is I can adapt to anything.
But that's amazing that you can, but do you work best in quiet like this, a bit in isolation, or do you need the hustle and bustle of everyday life to get all your inspiration from?
Well, I've lived alone forever. I love it. It's how I work best. I'm not great at when I'm offered grants or, you can do this ballet. We'll put you in the, alone in the boondocks and you work alone. I went, no, it ain't going to happen. I need my TV. I need my internet. I need hustle and bustle inside the city. If I want to go run to a bar and a loud bar and I could sit there and think, I need that. I need that. And that I miss a little bit, being able to go out, anonymously and walk through crowds and just think and like, oh my God, that inspiration of this, that, missing that a bit, or going to go see things and this and that. But 9 times out of 10, because everyone asked me, oh my God, you're okay, you live alone. I went, this is heaven. This is like, don't worry about me. This is like, wow, this is great. But the other aspect of it, I go, oh
Yeah,
God,
yeah.
we have a couple people for dinner, or but it's starting to change.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
You sound
but I
like
need,
my son. My son also said he loves it. Yeah.
oh
So,
my God, this is like, all right, this is great. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen when I have to do a schedule or travel and like,
yeah.
but no, I keep saying, don't worry about me. This is amazing.
Yeah.
I've got my balcony that, thank God I have, that I can go out, and like it's a huge balcony, which is rare in San Francisco. At least I can go out, if I want, without a map. Like it's.
But the weather is also nice in San Francisco, isn't it?
Yeah, it's gorgeous right now.
I've never been there, but oh wow, yeah, lovely and sunny.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, it's great. It's not, rarely snows. It's not like, it gets cold. I mean, the fog and the fall, summer and the fall, sometimes it's really cold. The fog comes over, but it's a year-round city. It's not like tropical.
But now listen, on the lighter note, did you do something interesting in this time that you've never had time to do before? Did you have a hobby or something?
No.
Oh.
It's not weird. No.
No, you just had the.
Well, I thought I would go through all my files, organize everything, and I started doing that. I went, well, this is boring. So I stopped. I'm like, the files are the same. I stopped cleaning every day. I'm like, oh, organizing. Like, well, this is stupid, But no, it's weird. Nothing. No, it's given me time to work and think, and with collaborators to talk more about future full length. I get asked for full lengths a lot, and 9 times out of 10, those full lengths don't see the light of day because the artistic director may like it and I might like it. It's interesting, but marketing now shoots down.
Oh, I see.
Any country, anywhere, because the full lengths have to sell tickets. It's got to be a marquee. That's why Jekyll and Hyde, everyone jumped on that when I thought it. So it's, but something else, other works where the artistic director, oh my God, this is amazing. Yes, it's not been done before. And then the marketing goes, we won't be able to sell it. Especially in this country, the full lengths have to sell so we can do our rep shows.
Oh, I see.
And get it. So it's given me more time to talk with other collaborators on potential, working on full lengths that we can send, like I did with Jekyll and Hyde. We worked on this for a year and a half or 2 years before I sent out not knowing it was going to be universally, I want it. Now, after the opening, more companies want it now. It's going to have a life of its own. It was so successful. But finding that marquee full-length name that's not been done to death. No, we don't want to see another new Cinderella. We've done that millions of times. A new version of Swan, but something new, marquee, that has a marquee name that the audience will come see. That's what I've been doing. So that's given me more time for potential,
That's wonderful. Yeah.
Because I have an idea and I shoot it by companies and they go, wah, wah, wah. I go, what? Even if the artistic director goes and he presents it to the producers, or depending on what country it is, if that marketing or those people feel, we're not going to sell this, it'll be shot down. Even if I think it's a marquee name, I think it's exciting, and it's like, nah, it's not happening. But like I said, Jekyll and Hyde just hit a nerve. I was like, whoa, gold mine, So it's looking for those subject matter.
I'm hoping now you come to Vienna with Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah, well, it's already scheduled because of the pandemic. It's hard to schedule. Companies have been wanting it, but it's hard to push it when everyone's like, oh, budget.
Yeah.
But already 4 companies after 2023 United States we're negotiating now for them to do it. There's some countries in Europe that are interested, and It's just because of the pandemic, it's been little hard to,
Mm.
but already there's a lot of
Is
interest.
it is it online? Is it available to see online?
No, there's a promotional. I can send you what it looked like.
Mm.
I'll send you a promotional.
Yeah, yeah. I
The
would love
the
to see that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'll send that hopefully, and you'll let me know. I think
Mm.
it's still you can see it. Very
Okay.
cool. They promoted it really well, and just the look of it, very cool, different,
Mm.
very different, even for me.
Oh,
Um,
wonderful. Oh, it's so
but
interesting to talk to you.
yeah, thanks
And
for
I would,
talking.
yeah. But tell me, what do you think? What is your wish for when this is all over?
Oh, I just want things to get back to normal, get an audience, that we're not, you know, it's going to take a while. I know that things are changed for the good in many ways. I just wanted to get it closer to our normal and even better as soon as possible. That's the biggest wish. And we'll see, it's like I say, take it day by day. I keep saying onward and upward. It's like just keep,
Mm.
not give up. I'm not always optimistic, but I'm go day by day by being optimistic. Yeah, this can work. We can figure it out. You want that change? We'll figure it out. It's deal. We got to keep the arts going. So when things do, so there's something to go to. There's organizations that have survived this. So
Mm.
any company that calls me for help, I go, absolutely, I'll do.
Mm.
Okay, let's change this. Let's work this. Okay, you want this? Let's figure it out. Um, uh, don't pay me, pay me this little, or wait, pay me later. It's got to happen. We got to keep these organizations so when things do get better,
Yeah.
we got something to go back to. I'm afraid there's
Mm.
like this lasts too much longer. Then things are better. There won't be any organizations left. It's gonna be
Yeah.
building from
You're
the ground
right.
up again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
wonderful that you have that attitude and that you are so supportive also, in that sense, because I
Yeah.
think also financially, I think a lot of people and a lot of, like you say, companies are really struggling now at the moment.
Right.
So
Oh, absolutely. And
well done for you for doing that.
yeah,
Mm.
and we all are. I mean, I have to cut back and stuff, and but it's, it to me, it's an investment too. It's
Mm.
like, oh, yeah, I'm here with you. If you don't
Yeah.
survive, I don't survive. So, I mean, we all have to take that consideration.
Yeah.
So,
Mm. So do you think the audiences will uh, be more appreciative and be more
oh,
eager to come, and
oh
do you
yeah.
think there will be new audiences? Because now with all the streaming, I almost think that there are more people reached by the streaming.
It's hard to
Do you think
tell.
they will come?
I don't know about the new. I think though the existing, for the most part, are totally ready.
Mm.
Case in point, Ballet West that just did this new program. I think it ends this week. It was supposed to be another program. They haven't performed live, and finally, because of conditions of that's they figured out how they can do a live performance. They're doing, I think, 10 shows, 11 shows in a 2,000 seat theater that their theater is. And they offered it, this new program. They can only do 20%. And within seconds, it was sold out, all shows.
Wow,
And
amazing.
clamoring for how can we get more? Can you know,
Mm.
so yeah, the audience is wanting to come back.
Mm.
They want the normal to with or without masks, whatever. I just see that's a sign. Yeah, they want to
Yeah.
come back. They want to be there. So I'm seeing that as a sign. Everyone's ready. Everyone's over this.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
but
I think so. Yeah, I also have this feeling that um, it will be really something that people need, to be there and to be with each other and watch and have that energy. And I also think for the dancers, that's so important that they have the audience there and
oh
this
yeah,
exchange of
yeah.
energy and appreciation and that sort of thing.
Oh, it's crucial. It's crucial.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good to see because I zoomed in, not the performances, but the dress and text and just the enthusiasm and just the relief that we're on stage without masks. And it was like, but also trying to figure out, because stamina is an issue.
Oh, yes.
Oh my God. It was only until, like, with my two works, one in particular, that by the tech dress, because there's 3 casts, that they were able to get through it without masks. You mask and you're having to stop and you're in a smaller space, to be without a mask and having to go fill that huge space. They weren't getting through it. But it took, by the time performances came, they were able to do it. But like you said, it's building up the technique and stamina again. And
Yeah.
until they get on stage, it ain't gonna happen. So
And what you know, what we don't realize is, for a year, it's a very long time for a dancer not to be doing exactly that, you know, that type of training, that those many hours of rehearsals. And yeah, so I'm glad you mentioned that as well, because yeah, that's
it's
things we
crazy.
should be thinking about. Yeah,
Right.
definitely. Yeah.
Plus the fact that Salt Lake City is high altitude.
Oh,
Oh
okay.
my gosh, yeah. So that was an equal difficult battle for them. But yeah, it's all these little things you take in consideration.
Yeah,
It's not, you don't think of that. I'm going, why is this happening? It was okay. And another company went, oh, the altitude, it's really high up, you know. So
yeah.
here you go.
Amazing. But it's, yeah, it's these things, and this is what makes the arts also so special, you know, because every audience, every performance is different, every place, you know, so the same thing can be different in different situations, different dancers. So
Right.
that makes it so unique and so interesting. Yeah.
Definitely.
But thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
And for all of these lovely insights, and for sharing all this. This is wonderful, and I feel so honored to be able to talk to you about this. And I hope Jekyll and Hyde comes to Vienna.
Well, me too.
Well, thank you so much. This was so lovely. And whenever you come to Vienna, please write to me. I would so love to meet you in person.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Your
so
work is fascinating, and yeah, so I would really love to meet you. Okay, thank you so much. Have a lovely afternoon.
Bye-bye. You too.
Thank you. Bye.